Okay, so it is the night before my birthday and a Dota patch has hit, and I'm going to be analyzing the changes and everything real quick. Gonna try not to take too much time right here. Gameplay update 6.83. This is what we've waited for, and this is desperately needed. Winter map, of course, as well. That's pretty cool. Changelog is further down the page. Oh, that's pretty neat. New teleport effect. Shame I didn't do the Fantasy League this time, but, yeah, and that's just a cosmetic change to the map for now. Okay, that's the weirdest treasure I've ever seen. Luna Sniper, Legion, Drow, Shadow Shaman. New set for Tiny or Hexgill the Lane Shark Courier. A random treasure and have a chance to earn a special gift. You might even find treasure redemption token inside, which can be redeemed for another treasure of your choosing. That's pretty cool. Effigy Block of Frost. Okay. So there's other effigy blocks coming out. That's pretty neat. Gift wrap. And you can create a present, add a note. Okay. That's neat. Let's get into the actual balance changes, though. Okay. Sorry, my lovely assistant here was going to make an appearance, but I guess not. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Ranked all pick initial planning phase reduced. I'm going to just zoom in a bit. From 40 to 30 seconds. I don't think that's a big change. Period. Nobody really does much there. It's just that all pick is taking a while, and they want to change it there. Melee... Oh wait, first rune spawns are now both bounty runes that are twice as effective, so 100 gold, 100 XP. That's... You know what, I like this. I really do, because people have been complaining, well, haste rune is OP and whatnot. Well, if they're both bounty runes at level 1... it fixes all that. This probably means supports are going to be scouting runes early. So, yeah. I like that. All illusions now deal 25% less damage to structures. This is an enormous Naga and Terrorblade nerf. I think Terrorblade a little more so. Okay, and this is a change to split push. So, the person split pushing that gets the last hit on barracks isn't going to get as much. But, everyone gets something now. So, that's nice. Less of a reward for ranged, so, okay. Ward location to the right of Roshan is now pathable. I'm assuming that's... Okay, to the right of Rosh. I'm assuming that is the cliff area up top, so we're good there. Fixed a ward location near the dire ancients that could not be easily seen. I think that's the same one, but I'm not 100% sure. Ancient Granite Golem health reduced. Now has an aura which grants 15% bonus health to its allies. So actually no change on the main one, but the smaller Granite Golems are going to have 15% bonus health. Private lobby games. Now use the captain's boot. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, that's no big deal, really. That's for remake, basically. A bug fix. Maximum attack speed increased from 500 to 600. Primary impact of this is on abilities like Wind Ranger's Focus, Fire, and Ursa's Overpower. So basically a buff to Windrunner and Ursa. And possibly really fast attacking heroes. So Clink's... PA, possibly, as well. Troll Warlord. Maybe even Drow, possibly. It just depends. Following abilities no longer have restrictions when cast on spell-immune allies. Bug fix. Okay. Tooltips for Vanguard, Stout Shield, etc. Now reflect their internal proc chance instead of their legacy representation. I have no idea what that means. I'm just going to go ahead and be honest. Vision and Fog of Order can now be any numeric value rather than specific intervals. That's pretty neat, but a bug fix. Ult duration increased by a second. Okay, on Abaddon. That's not going to change much. Sorry if I'm rushing through this, guys. I'm excited to get to hero changes. Alchemist. Grievel's Greed base gold increased. That's pretty good. Extra bonus gold per stack increased to the level 3. Max bonus gold upped a little bit, and recent kill window upped a little bit. Okay, so this is meant to make Alchemist kind of like an anti-mage in that he can get farmed very quickly, the difference being that he doesn't have to have a Battle Fury. He just needs about level 3 or level 4. And this kind of brings it up to par with 6.8 whatever standards. Axe battle hunger duration scaled down to 10, but damage is scaled up. Okay. So more damage quicker, basically, is what I'm seeing. Movement and slow a little upped. Cast range down, mana cost decrease. The mana cost decrease is big because it'll keep people from just putting 1 point in it. Slight Nightmare cooldown rework. I don't think we'll see Bane still. He doesn't offer enough counter push in the current metagame. Oh, that's interesting. Call of the Wild now provides a hawk and a boar at each level. Okay, I'm assuming we still get the greater whatever. At the same levels-ish. What? We're doomed. Okay, let's go back to Beastmaster, though. So basically, it's a completely different spell. I'm not going to be able to analyze this right here, but it basically makes Beastmaster a little more versatile and better for value points. Okay, Bloodseeker added to Captain's Mode. I don't think this hero is balanced in competitive Dota. It will be interesting to see. But I don't know. And this is a bug fix. I'll be glad to have him back, though. He's a fun hero to watch. Track bonus gold for self increased. Track cooldown reduced. The track cooldown won't make much of a difference, because the mana cost is still going to be ridiculous. Maybe in the late game it will, and I don't think the track bonus gold will change this. I don't think Bounty Hunter is going to be picked still. The problem is, when you track someone and kill them and then get ahead in gold right now, you get too far ahead. And you run the risk of throwing the game, basically, because of the comeback mechanic in 6.82. Brewmaster, base armor reduced, Thunderclap slow duration slightly reduced, Thunderclap cooldown increased. He's going to be weaker in lane, but he'll be just as strong everywhere else, pretty much. You don't really have the mana to spam Thunderclap every time it's off cooldown, so, yeah. Cruel Spray stack damage is increased, though, and this may not seem like much, and I am assuming they're keeping the cap in place, so, yeah, this won't change too much. The only thing is, it'll stack up faster. It'll still give you the maximum damage of 400, I want to say it is. It's a decent change, but I don't think it's absolutely crazy. Spiderling's day vision reduced from 1400 to 1100. Okay, so you can't use your Spiderlings as mobile wards anymore, pretty much. That's good. Chaos Knight. Reality Rift damage increased from 25, 50, 75, 100 to 60, 80, 100, 200, or 120. That's pretty good. What? Reality Rift mana cost from 70 to 50. This guy has serious mana problems. I've been playing in mid a bit, and you have to have Bottle to do this. It can work, though. With Phantasm Illusion duration increase, with the nerf to illusion damage to towers. And Ish, don't spoil anything for me, please, dear God. I'm trying to get this with fresh eyes at the moment. Phantasm duration increase, though, will give them the opportunity to do more damage and actually do a lot. That's a big deal, in my opinion. I don't know why my chat box there isn't working right, but let me just see real quick. Yeah, it's not working. Whatever. Don't care. Okay. Test of Faith now teleports all your units to you when you cast on yourself. Has the same delay as when cast on allied heroes. It's not bad. Wait, whoa. Okay, this is huge. You can now get 4 creeps as Chan at max level Holy Persuasion. That's really big. I don't think we'll see him picked still, but it is pretty big. Base attack range increased from 600 to 630. This is great. He's very squishy in lane. He needs to be able to stand back a little more. Battery assault damage increased to a more easy figure to look at. A decent buff. Clockwork's not picked enough. That's all we can really say. Okay. Crystal Nova attack speed slow from 20 to 30, so it actually does an attack speed slow now. Whereas previously it was like, yeah, okay, I'm a little slower, but not much. Frostbite cooldown from 10 to 10,987. Good. You can spam more stuns. You've got enough mana anyway. Freezing Field duration increased from 7 to 10. I mean, if you can get the full channel off, you might as well get 10 seconds of it. Freezing Field explosion spawn radius and slow radius increased by 150. That's big. And sorry about the dinglings in the background over there.
Olivia's texting me.
Okay, can't you put it on silent?
Olivia doesn't deserve your phone silent.
This is for my YouTube channel, woman. Sorry for the production value there. It can be heard, yeah. Okay. Darkseer base armor increased by 1, so he's a little better in lane. I still don't see him being picked. Vacuum's just too long of a cooldown, to be honest. Vacuum pull duration increased, so a slightly longer disable, if you want to call it that, on Vacuum, but it's not too much. Crystal Maiden changes aren't enough to make her picked. Her ult is negligible, and she's still too squishy and too slow. Dazzle gets a little more attack range. I like that. That's fine. Death Prophet's squishier. This is big. Because if you can burst her down, you can win. That's basically how you beat Death Prophet, is you burst her down as soon as she gets her ult off, so it's nice. Glimpse mana cost is rescaled, which is good. Glimpse cooldown slightly reduced, so Glimpse is just better. It was good anyway, though. Maybe not worth maxing first anymore, but definitely like 3 points, for sure. Kinetic Field cooldown reduced by a second. Static Storm cooldown increased level 1, lowered later on. I like the 70-second cooldown at 16. That's good, but is it enough? Okay, Dragonite, Elder Dragon form level 3 now maintains Corrosive Breath, so basically damage over time still carries on. Great. Illusions now benefit from the marksmanship bonus. This is actually really big, okay, because Manta hasn't been built on Drow for a while for this reason. Because most of your damage comes from marksmanship, and you don't get that with illusions, so why even build it, you know? But now that they will, even with the nerf to illusions, which I think is necessary if you're going to do this to Drow, but this is necessary if you're going to nerf illusions as well, because Drow does rely a bit on split pushing. That's pretty big. I like the change. I'm excited to see a little more Drow Ranger. Earth Spirit. Rolling Boulder no longer reduces attack speed by 80 for 2 seconds. No longer does an additional 45 damage when used as a Stone Remnant. Okay. Base damage increase to make up for it. Okay. That's fine. Still don't really care he's not in Captain's mode yet. We never see him in pubs, practically. Earthshaker. Enchant Totem. Mana cost reduced from 50 to 20, 30, 40, 50. Now keep in mind, I believe it's Aftershock, his passive, that will give him a stun. So this is effectively a 20 mana stun at level 2, probably just level 3 though, because you'll get Fissure first. That's a pretty big Earthshaker buff, honestly, to support Earthshaker, and we rarely really see Core played seriously. Astral Spirit damage reduced slightly at higher levels. Okay. Fix the bug where he could move it while he was casting Echo Slot. Good. Enchantress Vroom Vroom, boys. Base move speed increase from 315 to 335. That's big. I believe she can easily keep up with her creeps now, especially with boots. But you could even go without boots on her and really rush her Midas in the jungle as a support if you want. Chronosphere cooldown rescaled. Time Walk no longer slows attack speed. Just some tweaks to Void. Still think we'll see him. Still think he's good. And a bug fix there as well. Gyrocopter. Call down area of effect increased from 450 to 600. Holy lord. This first slow is reduced. The second slow is increased. Well, it's easier to hit now. I like that. Yeah. I don't know when it's going to be out, Vinny. Let me check real quick. See if it says so. Probably not like today. Okay, where were we? We were on Gyro. And Force Staff can now be used on Homing Missile. Anish mentioned this to me. I wasn't sure how big it was going to be, to be honest. Okay, thank you. But actually, you could cast Homing Missile, Force Snap it toward the enemy, and boom, blow him up instantly. So it could be a near instant stun, especially if your support has a Force Staff. I think it'll actually be out this week. Because they did say something about Bloodseeker will be added to competitive play next week. Yeah, but see, otherwise they just say this will happen with the patch. Since this will be enabled next week, it's separate from the patch, I'm assuming. Anyways. Huskar, Inner Vitality base health region from 2, 4, 6, 8 to 10. This is really good because now the heal is a 1-point wonder pretty much in the early game. And basically rescaling the Inner Vitality bonus, which is fine with me. It does give you reason to level it now with this. But since you're getting 10 regen anyway, 20% is practically nothing in the early game. Io no longer requires turning to perform any actions. I'm interested to see how this will affect Medusa ult. Because how do you know if Io's even looking at you? It's iffy. Jakiro, liquid fire damage reduced. Necessary. He's very popular and way too popular. Juggernaut's base agility increase. That's really big in the early game because he'll have very high base damage with that. I'm not sure what it is right now, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty high. Crit chance rescaled to be 5%. So 5% more level 1. This is kind of a mid-game buff, but not really that much of a buff at all. But since it could enable him to get more kills, I guess it could be. That part's iffy. I'll have to see that in action, really. Keeper of the Light. Chakra magic cost down at higher levels, so putting points in chakra magic now is more rewarding and more useful for yourself. So this kind of benefits a split push a little bit, I guess. Blinding Light blind duration increased from 345 to 456, so basically an extra second of blind. That's a great anti-carry kind of thing, so we might start seeing Coddle picked a bit more than the Pocket pick when they pick Medusa up. We'll see. Kunkka, X marks the spot, enemy delay to 4 seconds, ally delay to 8 seconds. Okay, now I see it. The cooldown is reduced, or changed a lot now, so 1-point wonder or 2-point wonder for this isn't going to be good, or as good as it was. But if you can get close to your enemy, it's actually going to be pretty good. 350 cast range is nothing. But 4 seconds for 1 point is really good, because that gives you tons of time to set up a boat or anything. I think Jug needs a buff. But the main thing is, though, Marsh, it's going to be balanced around the competitive scene. And he's not picked in competitive, so he needs a buff. Diabolic Edict duration increased. I'm assuming that means the damage stays the same, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Lightning Storm slow duration increased a little bit and cast range increased. So basically making Leshrac a bit of a better laner. Still don't think we'll see him played in competitive play. Chainfrost's cooldown reduced at early levels. That's a big buff to Lich. Not sure he has enough presence in lane, though, to be picked. But we'll see. I mean, it's definitely possible. Okay, Infest now allows you to control the unit you are in using a sub-ability. You don't have to do the Helm of the Dominator thing anymore. That's pretty decent. Cannot be used on heroes, okay. So you can basically infest one of their creeps and then move it. That's a pretty decent change. Kind of allows him to split push a bit better, but it'll just be interesting to see how this one plays out. I like the idea of it, though. I was thinking that would let you control heroes, and that would be pretty crazy in pubs. Like, you won't give me unit control? Well, I'm taking it. Okay, attack projectile speed increased from Lena. That's good. It'll make her able to last hit sometimes. Oh, and Lifestealer can now Centaur Stump. I mean, you could do it before with Helm, but nobody really did. Unless you were just trolling. Dragon Slave mana cost increased, but damage is increased as well by a bit. Actually, quite a lot at higher levels. That's pretty big for only a 5 mana cost increase at a high level. Light Strike Array rescaled, so it's better early on. So a value point in this is really good. Mana cost is slightly increased, but not by much, to be honest. Stun duration increased at high levels. Okay. And Fiery Soul duration increased again. We see this every time, but I think it's a good buff most of the time. Lion's base attack damage increased by 7. A big part of the issue with Lion is people were saying he can't contest runes. Well, now he can, because he can hit a little harder. Actually, a lot harder. Mana drain interval from 0.25 to 1. Kills illusions on the first tick, so it kills illusions even faster. This is like a no illusions for you patch, it looks like, which kind of makes me sad, I'm not going to lie. But I do like this because it makes it so even if you're not getting much of a channel off, you get more mana for the time you spent channeling, basically. Okay, remove the cast time on Spirit Bear's Return. Bug fix. Battlecry cooldown increased from 30 to 60. Duration reduced from 8 to 6. But bonus damage increased from 50, 75, 100. 100 bonus damage per hit. Not to mention you already have insane attack speed because you're lone druid. Battlecry bonus armor increased from 246 to 51015. This is a pretty big buff. I think we'll see Lone Druid picked. I think we really will. Moonglane's level 4 bounce has increased 1. She's still too squishy. And, just doesn't do well in the current metagame. I don't think the Eclipse beam count is going to increase. Like, that's not going to change anything. You get one more beam. Okay. Divided we stand respawn time reduction now 20% instead of 10, 20, 30. It's a necessary buff to Meepo, I'd say. The 30 was a little much late game, because if you got to late game as Meepo, you were good at Meepo. Duh. And the 10% was a little like, this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and we're going to let him feed a little more. But it's not very much at the same time. So 20%'s fine, I guess. Max stun duration from Adaptive Strike increased to 4.25. We could see the other shotgun Morphling come out, but you don't need... Actually, no, this is a defensive buff. If you're behind as Morphling and you are morphing all your strength, and you have to have a max stun, you can actually stun them for 4.5 seconds almost. And, walk away in that time, as well as get away with other things. I think that's pretty good. Marsh, Meepo gets a respawn reduction because you have more opportunities to kill him. Because there's more Meepos. Yeah. That should be obvious. Not that, Marsh, you're so dumb. Not like that, but you get what I'm saying. Base attack damage increased by 4 on Night Stalker. Fine, he'll be able to see us in lane a little more. Crippling Fear mana cost reduced. Darkness now sets all enemy vision to a maximum of 675 instead of reducing it by 25%. I actually like that a lot. A lot of things. This is basically Lena's attack range. No longer pauses day-night timer. Duration is down, but cooldown's reduced a lot. Okay. I can do that. Fire Blast damage reduced by a little bit. Okay. Fire Blast cast range reduced. I'm very happy to see this. I was worried they were going to over-nerf Ogre and he would go back to where he was before, but he'll be picked still. It's going to mean his offlane potential with this is not as high, but... Okay. Astral Imprisonment, Intelligent Steel increased, so stronger laner, basically. Duration reduced, that's good. I don't think it'll make him picked, but it's good. PA's Critical Strike is down a little in the early level, the same at the late game. That's fine, because it used to be once she hits level 6, she can just eat your face off, and now she can only kind of nibble on your face a little bit, but still do some damage. Like, she might take your nose still. Supernova attacks required to destroy are a little more at later levels. Fix Stop Icarus Dive ability sometimes being interrupted by auto attacks. Bug fix. Okay, whatever. Oh. Okay, this is going to be a fun buff. Level 1 Meat Hook at 1000 range is pretty good. Yeah, this is early game buff for Pudge. Kind of buff to the Jenkins way of playing Pudge as kind of a support. We could actually see Pudge support sort of work now that you don't need tons of levels on him. You still do need levels, but whatever. Decrepify move slow on allies reduced. We don't ever see that used, really. But I'm glad that it's getting reduced. That's fine. Netherward attacks required to destroy increased from 3 to 4. Okay, makes it a little tankier. Blade Mail no longer reflects Netherward damage onto Pug now. Okay. I will have to look at this, but this could be big. Okay, Queen of Pain's blink range is increased by a lot. Level 1 Blink is now crazy good. The only problem is now it's on a 15-second cooldown, which means you're going to have to think about it a bit more. It'll be interesting to see how this affects skill build. Now does pure damage, though. And affects spell immune. Let me see if I can do some quick math here. Yeah, it's also a slight buff of damage to Sonic Wave, I believe. I may be wrong on this. Someone with better math skills than me will have to go back and do it again. But if a hero has 25% magic resist, it's actually a big buff to Queen of Pain. Meaning, a Scepter's a good option now, possibly. I've always thought it was a pretty good option, but whatever. Riki's max Blink Strike charge is increased. Charge restore time increased a little bit. Okay, I like that. More burst damage for Riki. Bonus damage increased a lot at the later levels, but early it's not as strong. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Fade Bolt mana cost is down on the early levels. You can value point this pretty much. Scepter Spell Steal cooldown reduced from 5 to 2. 2 seconds. The problem with this in competitive play is we're not going to see Rubik picking up a Scepter anyway. In pubs, it'll be fun. And we will see it happen, I think. Shadow Fiend's Shadow Rage damage increased. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put this on the table. I don't think this is necessary. This hero is really good. The one great thing about this is that it does make the level 1 raise a little better, which right now it's crappy. And it's going to make him a lot easier to lane in the extreme early game, but we'll see, basically. Shadow Raise, I just read that. Sorry, I'm sleepy here. Give me a break. Glaives of Wisdom Intelligence damage bonus increased yet again. This is basically going to be a double damage rune for Silencer at this point. Not quite, but close enough. Scepter Global Sauce no longer increases duration by a second. Okay, that's fine with me. I hate this hero anyway. Last Word cooldown reduced. I don't like that in a 1v1 matchup, but okay. Skywrath Mage, base agility reduced from 18 to 13. He's going to have no armor ever at this point. And I think people seriously will consider building a mech. I don't know that the chin buff is such a joke, Heisenberg, but you guys can go watch this on YouTube later and check out the beginning because you weren't here when I started, you noobs. Slaughter sprint duration reduced, okay. Sprint cooldown reduced, okay. So what? Amplify damage cooldown reduced, that's big, but I still don't think he'll really be picked because I don't think he does enough in the late game. And he has no real push power. If you could use Amplify damage on towers, I could see him being picked, but I could also see that being completely OP. Pounce damage reduced slightly. This is not the kind of change we need to see on Slark. This hero needs to be removed from the game entirely and burned in a pit. Next up. Okay, Shrapnel no longer does damage to buildings. Fair enough. Shrapnel now has 3 charges with a 40-second replenish time. Slow and damage does not stack with itself. Mana cost reduced from 120 to 50. Okay, and duration increased. I feel like people have always undervalued this spell. I kind of like the 3 charge thing. Don't really see the point of it. Especially when they don't stack. That'll be one we'll have to like put on the radar, and I'm not sure what's going to happen. Powering Haste cooldown, so that aura they added is better. Cool. Storm Spirit's turn rate is improved. This is big. Oh my goodness, that's big. That's like... I can't wait to play Storm after that change. He's going to be so speedy. Speedy Gonzalez, basically, Storm, at that point. Basically, you'll be able to turn and run away faster if you need to, which is pretty big. Warcry duration increased from 7 to 8 seconds. I feel like that's a fine buff. And Scepter Godstring ally bonus damage up a bit. I mean, if you're gonna have to build a Scepter, I'd like to see it do a lot. Techies is added to Captain's Mode. I'm pretty excited to see this because there will be people that pick it. And there'll be people that play it amazingly, too. Landmine's damage is increased, too. So, hey, that's pretty... Okay, wait a second. That's actually ridiculous. That's a lot of damage. Basically, level 2 mines are now the level 1 mines. I have a feeling this is going to result in some fun. Okay. Reflection cast point reduced. They're buffing Terrorblade? Well, they nerfed Terrorblade really hard, so whatever. Sunder minimum HP. Okay. Fair enough. Sunder's too good. Tidehunter's a little slower. Ravage damage is reduced a little bit, but it's still an amazing ability. Okay. Heat-seeking missile damage increased. Cool. Not going to see it picked, really. He's kind of... I guess that's true, Capizzi, but we'll see. Toss duration increased from 1 to 1.3 seconds. I'm assuming you're in the air more, which kind of makes toss a semi-disable at this point. Okay. More move speed earlier from grow. So it's really saying go ahead and skill grow early on. The 1 point in it is fine now. Eyes and the Force overgrowth damage increased. And the cooldown reduced. That's pretty big, but I still don't think we'll see him picked. He doesn't do enough at the moment, and he's not strong enough. Troll Warlord, fix Burger stack. That's a bug fix. It'll make him stronger. We'll see him picked, etc. Okay. I really like these changes to Tusk. Kind of. Ice Sharp's projectile speed changed. I like the additional projectile speeds, and I like the duration change. The only problem is they just changed the spell. People are still getting used to it. I still don't know completely how it works. You keep changing this up, no one's ever going to pick it because they're not going to feel comfortable. But, Walrus Punch is now an enemy target ability, and he's auto-castable. Wait, what? If it only will hit heroes, that's really good. The auto-cast thing. I mean, enemy target is great, because you can't miss your Walrus Punch. You literally can't miss. It can't be evaded. It can't be, that. I don't know that it would proc Lincoln's. We'd have to test that. I would assume so, though. But you can't really do much against Tusk except for like Ghost Scepter and that thing, so whatever. Cooldown reduced a little bit, that's good. He's a better ganker. Soul Rip max units increased, or no. Increased in the early game, so 1 point is okay here, but it's not great. We have to do the math, but I'm pretty sure that's the same amount of damage-ish, in the late game at least, not in the early game. Tombstone's armor's increased, okay, cool. Flesh Golem max slow increased to actually something instead of barely something. Okay. Wave of Terror cooldown increased. Vengeful Spirit's too strong. No big deal. Gravekeeper's Cloak recovery charm 12, 10, 8, 6 to 6. That's really good because it can value point. It can be value point worthy now. Sorry. Fatal Bond's cast range increased. Okay. Don't think we'll see it picked. He's too easily countered by Diffusal and doesn't do damage, basically. Like, it's really cool that you're standing around with your big slow, but you don't hit anything there, and therefore it's basically a 4v5 with a slow 5 team. Nobody cares. Power shot travel range increased from 1825 to 2600. And they finally fixed that. I really like that change. Power shot max damage is now dealt after 1 second channel instead of 0.7. I mean, it always channeled at 1 second previously, yeah. Cast point improved. Great. It has no cast point, so it's basically Rubik now. Reduce the area of the lingering vision at the end of power shot. Okay, since it's so far away now, you have to a bit. Focus fire attack speed bonus increased a bit. Well, with the attack speed cap as well, that's a big deal. Alright. Items. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Animal Courier, cost reduced 150 to 120. Buff to early game support. Same as the big rune change. Yeah. Armlet, recipe cost reduced. Nobody picks this up because of so much damage over time. Now it's a little cheaper, and it's an early game item, so yeah. Blink is no longer disabled if you take no damage. This is a buff to TA and Nyx specifically. That's why they're saying example this. The way it works right now is with Refraction up, if you get hit but you don't take damage, your Blink gets disabled. A lot of people stop picking up Blink on TA. I did, for sure. This is a huge TA buff. Bottle crowing, a courier carrying a non-full bottle will now always be slowed, so you get all 3 charges out of your bottle, or no big deal. Replace Talisman of Evasion with Broadsword in the side shot. That's interesting. But I kind of like it, because, like, if you're anti-mage building a battle free, this is very convenient. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a little inconvenient for butterfly builders late game, but at that point you can get around the map pretty easily, hopefully. Okay, no big deal. Cost reduced by 20 on Circlet. Recipe cost increased by 20. No big deal. I think that's a very big buff to the early game, because I found myself wanting to pick up a Circlet, because I actually, if you're going to build it into anything, I think the Circlet's better than 3 of 1 attribute. Like, oh no, but I'm going to be down 1 base damage. Well, you'll have 2 of each other attribute too, so it works out. It's a good value item now, especially since it builds into something else. Clarity's mana restore increased from 135 to 150. Not much, seeing as they usually get cancelled, but I guess a buff to a support. Okay. Ice Frog, please. This is where I'm going to be Ice Frog pleasing right now. Let's go back one, though. Crimson Guard duration increased by 1 second. Cool. Great. It's a good item. Pick it up. Buy it. Well, I don't need to talk about Crimson Guard anymore. Diffusal Blade is no longer a unique attack modifier. This is a big nerf to Omni. Because now anyone can pick this up. Now, multiple mana break type abilities do not stack. That's good, because otherwise anti-mage would be broken right now. But I really like this. You can go Diffusal Scotty now. If you're going like stats-based agi carry. There's lots of opportunities there. I like it. That's good. Drum of Endurance, an extra charge is great. Recipe cost increased on Yules. That's great. Healing Salve reduced a bit. That's going to help supports and carries as well. Dominated units getting bonus health increased from 250 to 500. That's big, because this is going to help you stack and everything. Magic Wand max charges increased from 15 to 17. Pretty big as well, honestly. That's 30 extra regen, possibly, if you're going to hoard your charges for a while. Ooh. I like this. Okay. Recipe cost now increased on Medallion of Courage, but you can give it to allies. That's really big, especially with the increased armor. This is a huge buff. It'll be harder to build, sure, but whatever. Fruit Loop, you've missed most of the patch hype, but don't worry, it'll be up on YouTube in a bit. I'll try to tweet when it goes out or something. Refresher Orb, cooldown increased. Necessary nerf. Too many late game scenarios, too many people are getting it. Why not? Shadow Amulet cost reduced. That's actually a pretty big buff. I'll have to play around with this. Shadow Blade could be a lot better now that it's 200 gold cheaper, because you can get it earlier, and the earlier you get it, the better it is, in my opinion. Movement is now only interrupted when the invisibility starts rather than when you cast it. So, basically when you pop it, and you can still move during the fade time, it doesn't, like, stop you, and then you have to keep moving, and then you stop again. You can basically keep running, and you'll start to go invis, and then when you go invis, you'll stop moving. That's pretty great. Okay, additional changes. This is other things. Okay. When spectating a game with a team's Fog of War selected, you now only see what they can see in-world in the mini-app. This applies to player's perspective as well. This is pretty big. I've been asking for this kind of things for a long time. Great. Fixed servers. That's what I'm going to call that one. Added a sound effect that plays on Slaughter Yasha's main, procs on attack. Great. More understanding that is a good thing. Yeah, that is a buff to Slark Heisenberg, and I don't like it. But, alt-click. Health and mana bars. Great. Item more ability, but do not have enough mana. Mana needed will be shared. Buffs and debuffs. Blah, blah, blah. Items without activation. Blah, blah, blah. Abilities that are ready include the level. Okay. Dead enemies icon will announce that they are dead. Your respawn timer announces your respawn. Control alt clicking the button will suggest not using the glyph yet. There's going to be so many people trying to do that and using the glyph by accident. I can already see it. An enemy's bottle now shows a rune. Okay, cool. Several effects being erroneously visible through the Fog of War. That's a major fix. Death effects not playing. It's a big deal. Not really, but not being able to taunt sometimes after using a prediction charm. You know what? I've seen this. Yeah. And that's a big bug that's fixed, but that's pretty big. Okay. Overall opinions. I don't like the nerf to illusions, but I'm glad they haven't touched Naga otherwise. Because if they did anything else to Naga besides like buff her, that's pretty bad. Really like the Queen of Pain buff. Really confused about the sniper buff. Excited to see techies in captain's mode. Windrunner looks a lot of fun to play again. Pudge looks great early game. Glad they didn't completely neuter Ogre Magi. There's some fun support changes. Huskar and Gyro look really good at the moment. Enchantress looks crazy. I'm glad to see the nerf on Death Prophet finally. Glad to not see any changes to Liking, who I think is in a fine spot. Excited to see Bloodseeker in Captain's mode. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, this also looks pretty cool. If you guys got here late and haven't seen everything, then I will be uploading the YouTube VOD very quickly. Make sure to check that out. Of course, if you're on YouTube, make sure if you enjoyed the analysis. If you didn't, let me know in the comments below. Like, follow, subscribe, yada yada. You know the drill if you've been on YouTube before. I don't need to spell it out, but I really appreciate the support. And, yeah, this was quite the nice birthday present for me. I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and get back off because I am tired still. Oh, wait, one more thing. Is there any... That's Witch Doctor and Juggernaut. Or maybe Axe. It's Axe, sorry. I'm trying to see, though. I don't see any new hero teasings yet. Okay. Yeah, that was the last thing. So, yeah, thanks, and I'll see you guys later.